Hello everyone, SirMonkeySuit happy here, back again with 7 Deadly Sins. We're on episode 3, and in the last episode, or I guess the last two, obviously we got introduced to the main characters of the show that we're going to be following. Mainly Meliodas, Hawk the Pigoo, and Princess Elizabeth, who is sort of like a runaway. She's run away from home because there was some sort of coup d'etat, or at least under the under the guise of a coup d'etat. The Holy Knights have taken control of the kingdom and basically blamed the 7 Deadly Sins for it. And of course, the guy who's in charge of the 7 Deadly Sins, Meliodas, is now going out with Elizabeth to try and find all of the other sins, essentially, and then I guess take back the kingdom. I think I asked a question like at the end of like episode 2 or episode 1 or something, like this idea that I don't know if the king and whatnot's dead. I think they're just captured. I think they were just arrested, but I don't know. That'll all come to light at some point, I guess. And also at the end of last episode, I believe I saw an ending credit scene, or like, oh no, I think I watched. It was at the end of episode 1. I accidentally got a glimpse of like the opening, and I shouldn't have. Or it was the ending, one of the two. And it basically told me that Diane is one of them, one of the 7 Deadly Sins. So I know that it's not. I don't think it's that big of a spoiler, but it is what it is. Whatever. But yeah, I think there was a little bit of a end credit scene at the end of the last one, basically showing her. She's a giantess, essentially. She's huge, and she is in this forest of white dreams where we are heading now. So yeah, I think that's all we need to talk about. So without further ado, let's get into this episode. Okay, episode 3. Right, so very beginning there, we got a little bit of backstory on who Gilthunder is. Apparently, that I say apparently, his father is the Grandmaster Zaratras, who I don't think he was as. I'm not sure if he was like. This is like adept at combat is what the 7 Deadly Sins were, but he was still in charge of them nonetheless, being a Grandmaster. I mean, he's got to be pretty decent at. He's got to be pretty talented, but I'm not sure if like him as an individual was better than the 7 Deadly Sins or not. But yeah, that the whole idea is that that's what started this whole thing off about the 7 Deadly Sins being the traitors, because they were caught like in the wrong place at the wrong time. And when we went and had like a flashback with all of the, I thought it was convenient that only the ones that we know of, so literally Meliodas and Diane, like those are the ones that we could see. The rest of them had the helmets on. It's like fucking typical, isn't it? But yeah, when we went back in that flashback, interestingly enough, I thought it was interesting that Meliodas said that, because, you know, Gilthunder asked, what are you saying, that you didn't kill the Grandmaster? And Meliodas says, I can't remember much but from back then. But then he proceeds to remember, like, the whole, like, finding him dead. You know what I mean? So, like, he says he doesn't remember, but he does. He remembers that bit. He doesn't remember what happened, like, afterwards, because he got knocked out or something, right? Interesting enough, the quote before he blacked out was Captain, I'm sorry. Now, I mean, it's easy to like, kind of assume, oh, it could be Diane, because she calls him Captain. And Elizabeth picked up on that, like, oh, she calls him Captain. Interesting, okay. But, I mean, because we haven't met any of the other sins, we don't know what they call, because they could call him Captain as well, so we don't know. And also they specifically didn't we didn't hear her voice like on purpose, so obviously to keep it a mystery, I'm going to assume it's not Diane, because I guess it works either way, doesn't it? because it just keep it a mystery. Like, I mean, I'm just wondering if like blacked out in what way. Like, was it by magic, like a spell, or was it like conked on the head? And also why? It kind of makes me think that there is maybe a betrayer in the 7 deadly sins. Like, one of them is a betrayer, or maybe in on it, maybe acting like a double agent almost. Like, so if if one of them was able to think like on their feet real quick, understand the situation that they're in, if and then I don't know, maybe like if one of them was able to like knock out whatever, fabricate a story, and then sort of work with the Holy Knights, but still on the side of the 7 deadly sins, you know. The reason why I think that is because at the end there, that end credit, after the end credits, that little scene there, Gil Thunder mentioned that one of them is imprisoned, and the other one is dead. So I'm kind of thinking like I don't think you set up a story in this way of like, you know, each of the, you know, it makes a point, this show, to show each individual 7 deadly sin. You don't show them if they're already dead and it doesn't matter anyway. You know what I mean? In some form or fashion, the grisly sin of sloth, whoever that is not dead. You know what I mean? I think they have maybe, depending on what they're capable of, like, they could put themselves in a state of like where it appears they're dead. What's that fucking, there's something that like you can take that slows your heart rate down so much that you're able to be pronounced dead, but you're not. It just slows your heart rate like right down. So there could be something like that at work. And I am inclined to believe that whoever it was that knocked out Meliodas and said, Captain, I'm sorry, is one of those two. I'm gonna lean more towards the grisly sin of sloth, the one who's supposed to be dead. I think it's that one, right? For now. Just because I feel like it kind of, you know, I don't know why, I just feel like there could be a connection between that one on purpose, knocking him out. What did he say? Fucking Meliodas said something like in particular, like about how he just remembers like waking up in a cave or something, right? Let's see.
さあな。ただ俺は当時のことはほとんど覚えてないんだ。団長、メリューダス様。最後に覚えてるのは王都の町外れの古城に呼び出されて。
I'm not gonna say it.
せっかく王国誕生祭で酒が飲めると思ったの。その言葉を最後に記憶がぷっつり。次に気づいた時、俺はどっか。
Waking up in a cellar somewhere. In a cellar. I thought it was like a cave or something like that, and because I'm thinking of like this, the grisly sin of sloth apparently is dead in and interred in the necropolis, right? Necropolis is kind of like it's kind of like a graveyard, but like a fucking, like a real gothic one. If that's like, there's like sort of fuck, what do you call them? Like crypts and stuff and tombs and shit. It's pretty fucking cool, to be honest. There's one in like Glasgow in Scotland, which isn't not too far away from where I live. I say that it's like probably maybe like a couple hours, like, you know, maybe a few hours drive from where I live. But yeah, it's cool anyway. So I was thinking like maybe like, if it was like more like a cave, then maybe it was a tomb or something like that. But who knows? I'm thinking, you know, if it's a cellar, then I don't think you can really compare the two. But never mind. But yeah, I'm going to think that it was the Grizzly Sin of Sloth that knocked him out. I think it has to be one of those two. It just has to be, you know what I mean? Because the other three are unaccounted for, so I feel like they're kind of... I feel like it probably makes more sense for their three stories to be maybe a bit on the side as opposed to like revolves around the person who knocked him out, whatever. So yeah, we'll see. Yeah, and then the Fox Sin of Greed is imprisoned in Based Prison, wherever that is. So Gil Thunder there, he wanted revenge, and then he said like he plus more. So he wants to be like the one that he wants to basically make a point that he is stronger than the 7 Deadly Sins now. So basically he's at the point of like, I mean beforehand at the very beginning in that first scene, there was like, oh shit, he's been lied to, like, you know what I mean, like this idea that, you know, his dad was killed and then the 7 Deadly Sins were blamed for it. So obviously he's, you know, in a sort of a revenge. He's out for revenge against them essentially, but you know, as we know, that's not how it happened. You know what I mean? That's not how it happened. So I thought that maybe there would be a case for Gil Thunder to have some redeeming arc, right? I still think that's kind of there, but as of right now, I kind of just I'm at the stage of like, oh fuck him, because he fucking kicked Hawk, God knows how far, because fucking I feel like Elizabeth was chasing him for a while, but and also like if it was just about revenge, then you know it's easier to come back and redeem. But if he's too far gone in this idea, it's like it's not just about revenge anymore, but like more than that, then it's like fuck you, man, you pinkhead bastard. Yeah, so the crew went into they were obviously in the middle of the forest. There was prankster imps that were basically, they have some, I don't know, some magical wizardry shit going on where they can transform into like anything they want seemingly, but not everything was an exact copy. I figure as much. I think that's obviously the reason why he took off Elizabeth's pants. I don't know how. Because there's no way he could have done it when he was just feeling her ass in that one scene, right? He had to do it beforehand. Like he had to do it like when she was asleep or something. Because how else do you do that without her knowing? You know? Fuck. But yeah, good plan, mate. I'm guessing he kind of. But I don't know then. How does he know then? How did he know about that coming up? Because I feel like they haven't seen each other since 10 years ago, which was, that would have been when he got knocked out, right? That would have been the last time they saw each other. So he's never been in the forest. Well, he might have done, but he's never, like, you know, he would have never known about the, you know, Diane using those as minions and doing all that stuff, right? How the fuck did he think of that? I don't know. Maybe he's just familiar with prankster imps in general and kind of just, I don't know, thought this might happen, so I'll do it anyway. And then because he's just a pervert anyway, it kind of just, you know, helps in that regard as well. Diane's so much bigger than I thought. Fucking hell, she's just huge. She's massive. Like, how does she fit in that? I'm gonna have a look. I need to look now. When she's like walking inside like that castle in the flashback or whatever, or is it just a big castle? I guess it must be. There's fucking other big ones there. Whoever's in the fucking purple bloody armor back there. Jesus. Yeah. I don't know if there's any clues like related to like, oh, who could it be? But I guess it's just not going to be, is At least not yet, anyway. So yeah, she's the Serpent of Envy. Which yeah, makes sense with how she's acting about being like jealous and envious of the fact that like Meliodas has been walking around with the princess alone, so it makes sense. Yeah, we also got information Gilthunder was the king's attendant as well, so a personal thing. Although, you know, even though there's these connections of like, you know, apparently, oh, they were fucking childhood friends, it's seemingly all just gone out the window because he's just acting like a bit of a knob. So, you see, that's where like it's. I feel like it's fairly obvious there has to be some redeeming arc there. There has to be, because of all the connections that he's got. Like he, you know, he trained under Meliodas, and he's the fucking him and the princess child of gotta be right. Yeah, I wrote down nothing phases Meliodas, so I'm not worried. Like that whole fight is just like because he's just like, you know what I mean? He has his hands in his pockets. He's just like, yeah. But nothing phases him at all, and I have no reason to you know trust in anything Gilthunder says about him. Like like because he's so up his own arse that he's like, I'll have no trouble beating you, and I'm like, I kind of just don't believe you because it's like before the fight took place, he was like Diane tried to like get out of it or whatever, and he says yeah, it's not going to work. And then like a minute later they're both just could have done that any time. So it is, to me, Gilthunder just sort of just oozes a bit of like spoiled brat that thinks he's better than he actually is. Like that's how it seems to me as of this moment. We'll have to see that. And yeah, that's all I've got. So yeah, I'm kind of hoping, you know, when it gets to that, I kind of want Diane to. I think I said in the reaction, I kind of want Diane to ride the mama pig, but I think like with the tavern like being on top, I'm not sure there's going to be any room, so I feel like she's just going to be walking next. Although I want to see like the sort of size difference, because I feel like she would be like the same height as the mama pig, right? I'd imagine so. Anyway, but yeah, that's all. So thank you everyone for watching. In the description below, I've linked to certain things. Discord, get yourself over there. I'm over there, and the community's over there. So get yourself over. Come talk to us. SirMonkeySuit.com, my website. All my content is over there. Get yourself over there and become a member. You can talk on the forums and all that good stuff. And Patreon. So I know with Patreon, if you don't want to support me, that'd be very much appreciated. There's a bunch of different tiers and rewards depending on how much you want to support me with. So there's early access, $5 a month. You gain access to shows a week early, and you get 4 episodes of Fate every week. Although by the time this comes out on YouTube, Fate will be finished, so it'll be something else. But yeah, just get yourself over there. You'll be able to tell which one it is. Full length, that's the $10, so that gives you access to my full length library. Everything I actually gets a full length. $15, that's the exclusive tier, gives you access to a bonus show which I'm currently reacting to, which is this one. This is what Seven Deadly Sins was done through the exclusive tier. Basically, it just means that it's exclusive to $15 patrons while it's airing. Once it's finished airing, goes out to the public for everybody. So yeah. By the time this comes out, I will be reacting to Season 2 of Seven Deadly Sins. So if you do want to watch that immediately, then you're going to have to become an exclusive tier patron, because I won't be releasing Season 2 of Seven Deadly Sins to the public until I finish airing that, and that should be up right now. So if you're interested, get yourself over there, become a $15 tier patron, and get to watch that. $50, that's the elite tier, so every time you pay $50, you get a choice of a show that you want me to react to, and I will react to it. It will go at the back of the list by about 7 shows. Might take me a while to get around to it, but I will do eventually. But if you don't want to wait and you want your show to be reacted to next, and you want to get God tier, which is $100, and that means that your show will be reacted to next. But that is all, so thank you everyone for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.